Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with a WNBA preview with the season just a couple of months away, and the draft is a couple of months away as well. And thinking about this upcoming season, there are a lot of storylines that I wanted to attack, a lot of different headlines, a lot of different variables, a lot of different question marks for this upcoming WNBA season. Now, this season brings a lot of hope, it brings a lot of redemption stories as well. So when and this is all, of course, pre-draft, I'll do another preview after the draft and kind of sum things up. It won't make a huge difference, but it will put a lot of pieces in place as far as the outlook of the season and things like that, especially depending on the moves that people make and how relevant the moves are to what their needs are. But after seeing Asia Wilson and the Aces raise up another banner in Las Vegas, um, some of the storylines I thought about that will be captivating for me is, well, first off, you have to start with the CBA because that has to get done. And if the CBA gets done right, I think we're in store for a great WNBA season. I look forward to watching a lot of these games and a lot of these headlines and a lot of things that come to fruition that we've been trying to see for the last couple of years, but that CBA is the biggest thing. Will the players get more rights? Will they get more protection? And will they get more compensation? So we can looking forward to a more illustrious future for this league because we know that the money should come because of all of the things that's been set forth over the last couple of seasons, the growth of the league, what Unrivaled has done with Brianna Stewart and Nafisha Collier, and the brand that they're building can do kudos to them. Um, so there's definitely more to come with that CBA, but the CBA has to get done first before anything in the season can transpire, even the draft. So looking forward to that CBA getting done. That's number one. But one of the biggest headline is Dallas has a number one pick again. So will they draft Aziza Fudd and reunite her with her old teammate slash lover, Paige Beckers? That's going to be a huge headline because if you ask people last year, 2 years ago, the consensus number one draft pick would have been Lauren Betts, who could have went last year, but I think she should have went last year because now her draft stock has kind of slowed down. Her production has slowed down a lot. So I think she'll still be a top three, top five pick, but that number one pick I think belongs to Aziza Fudd now. She's been tearing up the NCAA basketball course with her play. Very efficient from the three, very efficient from the field, from the free throw line, anywhere that she can be efficient, she's been efficient. She's been pretty good on defense and she's been a scorer. She's really filling the void that Paige Beckers left when she was at UConn, and she's doing a um, huge job for Gino Auriemma and that UConn Huskies team, especially with a pretty young team as well. So it's going to be pretty amazing to see if she can go to Dallas with Paige Beckers and just pick up where they left off at UConn, winning that national championship. Um, because I don't think they're gonna go with Lauren Betts because it kinda slows their game down. Um, I think Iowa Fan would be good for them, but I don't know whether they would go. So, but I think they're leaning more towards Aziza Fudd. It's gonna bring a lot of fanfare. It's gonna bring a lot of sales and things like that. So I think Dallas would go with Aziza Fudd. So, will Asia Wilson return to Vegas? Because I believe she's a free agent this offseason. So, will she return? Because Vegas does have a lot of leverage, just winning the championship, having given her the right pieces. She has a stellar team, um, uh, great pieces around her. So can they bring a lot of those pieces back? Because they have an excellent team, especially in that back court. And then Asia's holding it down in the front court. So they have all the leverage, I believe now, because if she leaves Vegas, where would she go? There's not a lot of great teams that she would fit right with. I think she is like the LeBron of the WNBA. So I think she can go anywhere and make them a playoff team just because of her competitive drive and her leadership and her tenacity, especially on the defensive end, that she can make anybody competitive. But I think it would make more sense to stay with one team your whole career and, do this thing like a Tim Duncan. So hopefully she goes back to the Aces. Um, Caitlin Clark, can she return healthy and stay healthy? Because that's the issue with Caitlin Clark, is staying healthy. She's missed a lot of games with hamstring issues and soft tissue injuries. So can she stay healthy this year? Because we know the best ability is availability. She hasn't been available a lot these past seasons. So we have to see Caitlin Clark healthy, because they have a great scorer in Kelsey Mitchell, who has, done great things, but it hasn't equated to winning as far as in the playoffs because she needs that other piece because she's the great scorer, but distribution wise, Caitlin Clark gets them going, gets everybody in their sets, get them in the right, spreads the court out. But when it's just Kelsey Mitchell and you have Aaliyah Boston in the post, it's a great 1-2 combination, but you can really focus on those two players and shut it down because you can double team them, send help. But when you have Caitlin Clark, you spread the court out, and it's very difficult to do those type of things, and you have to deal with three people instead of just two. So it's going to be very key or very essential that she's available for most of the season and stays healthy because that's her biggest issue is staying healthy. We know her talent is truly talented and she has a great ability, but like I said, she has to be available. The next storyline is Angel Reese and Chicago's relationship going to continue to deteriorate, or will she make an exit? Because I think she has a better chance in another locale. And I'm not sure what that locale is, whether she is able to go to Vegas and team up with Asia Wilson, which would make an excellent front court, or will she be able to go to somewhere like Minnesota and create a super team, New York, Liberty, or kind of have a lot of free agent pieces there? So can she get traded out somewhere there? Because it seems like Chicago is not doing the right thing and making the right moves to put around her. They had a Kennedy Carter back then, but then they let her go, which was their most prolific scorer. They let her go, and then of course Angel Reese has to stay healthy as well because she had a lot of knick-knack injuries towards the end of the seasons, and she's not able to finish the season strong. But can she finally make the playoffs? And, be efficient and be productive because I think she doesn't have the necessary pieces and she's really maturated as a player and she's really becoming a triple double threat. So I think with the right pieces and the right scores around her, especially with this draft coming up, they have to make real good decisions in this draft. But I think they have to do that. But and especially to entice her to stay, they have to really get some good pieces that she feel like she can win with because like I said, these basketball and sports careers are not that long as most people think, and you only have a short window to get these to be competitive and get these titles. So, will she be able to leave or will she stay? The next storyline I was thinking about is the Washington Mystics. Now, I like this team. I think they're very young, but at the same time, I think they have a high ceiling. But if they can stay healthy, the ceiling is very high for them. They have younger stars and Kiki Arafin and Sanaya Citron. Um, and they also have Georgia Amore, who didn't play last year due to an injury. Hopefully, she can come back this year and then show her range because she was a great shooter in Kentucky in college, and her scoring ability is something that they need, and they can build off of that. I think they'll be a tough team in the playoffs if they can make the playoffs and stay healthy. But I love, Kiki Arafin and what she's done, especially in Unrivaled League with her dunking, and hopefully she can bring that to the game, but they have a great young nucleus of talent, and hopefully they can build upon that talent and keep growing and keep putting pieces around that. So they're a very young, exciting team. So we hopefully they can make the playoffs, but I think they'll make the playoffs easily if they're healthy. One of the biggest storylines is the New York Liberty. Are they done as a unit? Because we know their coach went out, Sandy Brondello, and they brought in a new coach, Chris DeMarco. So can Chris DeMarco recapture that magic that the Liberty have? Because they have probably the best talent in the league. We think about a Sabrina Ionescu, a Jonquel Jones, a Brianna Stewart, and the requisite pieces they have coming off the bench. They are very talented, but they seemed very much in turmoil last year, and I think it led to Sandy Brondello being gone, and of course she's with the Toronto up tempo now. So I know she'll do great things with them, but that Liberty team, they have to figure that out because they have all of that talent and a great fan base. So they have to put that together and be productive. Because I think last year they underperformed heavily, especially towards the beginning of the season. They started to figure it out at the end, and then in the playoffs they just kind of wilted away. So they definitely have to figure that out, especially with all that talent that they have. They definitely have to do a lot more than what they had. Hopefully, they can keep that team, the core of that team together. Then another topic I was thinking about or situation is the Lynx. Will this be the finally the year that they go over the hump? Because Nafisha Collier is one of those players that is right there on the cusp all the time. But unfortunately, they lost to the Liberty a couple of years ago, because they just was a little bit short. They needed there was like a piece away, but Courtney Williams and what she's able to do, and they got the shooters on the outside, uh, so they have the pieces. I think they just have to put it all together and stay healthy for sure. Because Nafisha got hurt in the playoffs last year, which sidelined her earlier than expected. But I think they have the pieces and they have the coaching, they have the toughness, they have the defense, they have the scoring, but for some reason they just fall short. And I think a little bit of that is health. But I do love the pieces that they have. They have the co-defensive player of the year, and they have all these pieces. So, but the WNBA has so much parity, and that's what makes it so interesting and exciting and so competitive because they have only a certain amount. They have about 10 to 12 teams, and all of this talent is spread very evenly throughout the league. So every team has like three core players and a lot of great bench play and a lot of great supporting cast. So it's very difficult to win in the WNBA. I know people want to act like it's simple thing to do to win in the WNBA because there are less teams, but it actually makes it more complicated because if the NBA only had 12 teams instead of the 30, just think about how stacked those teams would be. That's what the WNBA's problem is. Or even back in the older days in the NBA, you had lesser teams, but then you had the best of the best talent there. So there's a lot of talent condensed on teams, and a lot of teams, well, a lot of players on these benches in WNBA could be starters in any other teams. So so much talent and so much parity that it's very difficult to win, and it's by the slimmest of margins, of talent wise. But then lastly, the LA Sparks. Will they take a leap? Because they have a lot of young talent as well with Rickea Jackson and with Cameron Brink. And then, of course, they have the veteran in De'Erica Hamby, who I love a lot. Um, and hopefully they'll add more pieces in the offseason because they should have a higher draft pick because of their record last year. But they have to stay healthy as well. Cameron Brink has just coming off that knee injury, but she's been playing unrivaled and working out and showing all these different things. So I think she'll stay healthy. She's fairly young. So the LA Sparks is one of those stories where they have the talent, they just have to put it together. So I think hopefully this will be the year that they figure it out. It's going to be very competitive this WNBA season and very exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. So tell me what your thoughts about this upcoming WNBA season. And until next time, I'll see you next time.